But yet every time you open your mouth, you show a lack of class. You show this contempt for the league nowadays. He almost sounds like jealous that he's not still playing. Yes, you got your 6 rings. Yes, you got your 5 MVPs and other numerous awards. But every time you say something, does it always have to be to berate and belittle players in the league nowadays? Guys that aren't even talking about you. No one talks about Jordan. Kobe, LeBron, Melo, none of these guys ever even mention Jordan's name. Yet every time he talks, it's to rain on somebody else. I don't understand it. I'm not a Michael Jordan hater. I love Michael Jordan, the player. But I always knew the person Michael Jordan was an a-hole, okay? Huge chip on his shoulder, bitter about everything, mad about everything, okay? I'm not ready to paint the guy out as a patron saint. I mean, the guy had, hey, the guy's always been a womanizer. You know, the guy's always had extramarital affairs and compulsive gambling and drinking and whatever he did. You know, all that stuff. He lived his life, and that's all good. But you would think 10-plus years out of retirement, you've been put in the Hall of Fame, yada, 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 you're a team owner now, all this other stuff. Why every time you talk, it's always to complain, or it's always to be bitter about something, or it's always to, you know, people don't understand. The Chris Paul trade, that Chris Paul was supposed to come to L.A., there was 2 guys really standing up against that trade. One of them was in Cleveland. The other one was in Charlotte. And it just amazes me that this guy almost just like, it's like he almost doesn't want anybody in the NBA nowadays to have success. It's almost like he's better off. See, here's my biggest problem with Michael Jordan, okay? People will say I hate him. I don't. My biggest problem with him, though, is he makes himself look like a hater. You understand what I'm saying? You make yourself look like a hater. The most telling picture, the most telling sort of anecdote about Michael Jordan's post-playing career was this last All-Star game last year. Bill Russell, 11 championships, great Celtic, Boston Celtic, has hung out with Nelson Mandela, worldwide traveling, the whole bit. Bill Russell's down on the court, shaking hands, high-fiving people, patting KD and Melo and everybody on the back. Hey, how you doing? Michael Jordan sitting up in the skybox. The guy's bitter, and I don't get it. I hate it that you're considered the greatest basketball player of all time, but you can't get up off your high horse to congratulate any player in the league nowadays. It's always, I'll beat this person, I'll beat him, I'll beat them. He makes himself look like a hater. I don't have to hate Jordan. I think Jordan hates the game now. Which is honestly my thing about Michael Jordan from back in the day anyway, because a lot of people who are Jordan fans, they just remember the great he did. They never remember all the other extra stuff. And I remember the great he did, but I remember the extra stuff too. And to be honest with you, I think the dude hated the game of basketball. I think he hated the pressure. I think he hated the circus. I think he hated the media. I think he hated the business aspect. I mean, let's face it, greatest basketball player of all time, and the guy was always underpaid. I mean, the guy was grossly underpaid. I'm talking about the guy, when they gave him that $36 million in his last year in Chicago, and everybody said, oh, that's a high salary, he should have been getting like 30 then. I mean, he was making Chicago money hand over fist. So the guy was always grossly underpaid. So I think, personally, he hated the business side of basketball. The games, the routines, the media, the circus, all that. He loved the sport of basketball, but he didn't like the game of basketball. And now it's just manifested itself. That's why every time the guy's he opens his mouth, he's talking squat about somebody. He's downplaying somebody. He's belittling somebody. Somebody asks you, well, who would you want to play with, Kobe or LeBron? Why not be a sportsman? Why not be a good ambassador for the sport and say, hey, I'd love to play with either one of those guys. Kobe's already got a fistful of rings, and LeBron's on his way. But not him. It's always got to be, none of these guys are as good as me, and I'm better than all of them. And you just sound bitter, man. Just sound bitter. And so it's like, for me to even say stuff like this, people will misconstrue this as, oh, he's just hating on Michael Jordan. And I'm not. I'm just wondering, why is he hating on the game? Why are you hating on a sport that has given you everything that you have? Why are you hating on a sport that you happen to be part owner of a team? Why are you so, pissy all the time? So mad? I mean, just mad at the sport, just mad at the game. And the crazy part is, I could see if your team was good. I could see if you put money into your team and effort and you were a halfway decent talent evaluator, a guy who could go out there and pick teams. This guy has made bad trade after bad deal after bad deal. Washington fired him for doing that. I mean, you had Pau Gasol and Tony Parker on the table, and you picked Kwame Brown? I mean, come on. So, again, this ain't the Michael Jordan hate hour. I'm just wondering why this guy keeps hating. Because Kobe Bryant doesn't give a damn about the Michael Jordan comparison. He doesn't care. He's supposed to want to be better than Michael Jordan. He's supposed to copy Jordan. That's how you're great. Imitation is the highest form of flattery. If you're doing something well, if I want to do something well, I might want to copy that. Hell, Michael Jordan copied David Thompson. Most people don't know who David Thompson is. He was another North Carolina star, high fly act, the guy who introduced Michael Jordan at the Hall of Fame. Most people don't know that. So again, you Jordan myoptics out there, you Jordanites, we call you, don't call me talking about I'm hating the guy. I'm not. I'm just asking you to check your boy and say, look, he's right. Why the hell is Jordan always sound so bitter? Why does Jordan always sound so mad? Why does Jordan always sound like he don't want nobody else to be successful? You never hear him do interviews. You never hear him give analysis. You never hear him, Kevin Durant's a great player. Kevin Durant can do this. Russell Westbrook that, blah, 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 blah. You didn't even hear him comment on the Derrick Rose situation. Derrick Rose. This is a guy who took an entire year off, and you had people clamoring for you to get back on the court, and you didn't do it. No comment from Jordan. It's like he doesn't even care. I mean, I've never seen in my life a great, great, great champion like this not only just walk away from the game and sort of like leave the game high and dry, not no political views, no nothing. I'm going to be part of an owner of a team because I'm going to make lots of money. But the guy downright takes a dump on everything that's NBA all the time. I mean, I've never heard the guy say Kobe Bryant does anything well. Yeah, you can acknowledge he has 5 rings. We all see that. He's earned every one of them. But give the guy his credit. Give him his props. LeBron James, I mean, why don't you just come out, Mike, and say, damn it, stop comparing everybody to me. I'm tired of it. Let these guys have their own day in the sun. Because I'm starting to look like the black cloud that's hanging over everything. Seriously. And, I mean, this is just something that's just been brewing in me for a long time, because it's like when you talk to certain people, it's like that old and living color joke. Don't you dare say nothing about Miss Jenkins. It's like you can't say nothing about Michael Jordan. You can't, like he was just a consummate professional and everybody loved him. No. The guy was abusive as a GM. He was abusive as a player in Chicago. That's why Washington fired him. The guy still has a chip on his shoulder. In his own words, it's always, I could beat this guy. I'll beat that guy. I could still do this. Really? Why? I mean, listen, for hypothetical sake, even if that is true, you are above it, homie. Rise above it. You don't need to be the, I'll beat everybody up guy. You don't need to be him. You're Michael freaking Jordan. It was retarded that you even had to wait 5 years to get into the Hall of Fame. That was ridiculous. They should have did you like they did, who was that, Mario Lemieux from the hockey, where they just waived the 5-year period and just let him in. That's what they should have did with Jordan. I don't even know why they made him wait 5 years. That was stupid.
Right.
But it's like what I'm saying?
There's no doubt he's the first ballot Hall of Famer, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, come on. First ballot, it's like ridiculous. It's like take the ballot, rip it up, and throw it out the window. But again, That's your record that speaks that way. When you open your mouth, you sound like you still pissed off at everybody. You sound like you still mad. Like 2K14 is out and you mad because you ain't on the cover. Like, what? I mean, really? This is your attitude towards great players of today? I mean, you can slice it any way you want to, man. Kobe Bryant is a great champion. He's going to go down in history as such. It doesn't even matter if you like him or not. No one cares. So why hate? Why not just appreciate? Why not appreciate guys who make our league better? Why not appreciate guys who are champions? What LeBron's doing is amazing. And Jordan, you should be the first one to pat him on the back and say this guy is carrying the torch. He's continuing the legacy of great things that Kobe's and the Shaqs and people like myself has done. But no, Melo, I'll beat all of them. I wouldn't lose to any of them. I'll beat Melo. I'll beat this guy. Really? You sound like get off my lawn, old guy. Seriously, dude. I mean, come on, Mike. I mean, just go out there and suit up, man, if that's the case. You know, we don't need to, you know what I'm saying? I mean, just suit up then. I think
that's what he want to do, man. He want to get it out there and play, man.
Yeah, make your comeback.
Hey, he's going to be like, I may be old, but I still can whoop your ass.
Yeah. I may be old, but I still can whoop your ass. It's like, come on, dude. Nobody cares about that. You know, you're on your way to being a billionaire. You're an owner of an NBA franchise that stinks on ice. I mean, they stink in the deepest part of the freezer. I mean, Charlotte ain't never confused. Charlotte, man, they might get beat by a WNBA team. They are garbage. And that is a direct result of Michael Jordan's influence because he's a poor talent evaluator. Nobody's going to argue that.
Well, at least they're going back to Charlotte Hornets, not the Charlotte Bobcats, so maybe they might actually be a decent team.
Hopefully. Well, hopefully. Because, again, if the guy being a poor talent evaluator, it's not because he can't pick good talent. It's because he's comparing everyone to himself. I mean, if you're great, you know you're great, and everybody loves you. You don't have to stand up and flex all your muscle and tell everybody how great you are. And, he's great, but I'd beat him. Oh, I'd beat him too, and I'd beat him. And come on, really? Stop with that TMZ stuff, Mike. You know, it's starting to get to the point, honestly. And I've read a lot of the Bleacher Report, and I've read a lot of these reports and things like that. You know, it's getting to the point where people are starting to say, Mike, just go away, man. I mean, just go away. Just take your silly commercials, you know, your Hanes commercials where you're ripping the tags off of people's collars and crap. You know, just go away. I mean, you're Michael freaking Jordan, and you can't endorse a Mercedes or something? I mean, or a Learjet company or something? Really? You've got to resort to look like the old guy that was sleeping on the couch and got up and smelled the barbecue next door, came over and started ripping tags off people's shorts and stuff. I mean, what is that? Like you came over to borrow a cup of sugar. Your line in the commercial is, dude, really? Michael Jordan? Come on, man. Seriously? No, it's dude, it's almost embarrassing. It's almost embarrassing because if you put it this way, when you look at a Bill Russell or you look at a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the way those guys conduct themselves, the way those guys are involved in the game, coaching, you know, players and trying to be good ambassadors and meeting around the world with people and stuff like that, the way these guys carry and conduct themselves, they look like Hall of Famers. They look like guys who were exemplary teammates, and they had, you know, people gravitate towards them. When you hear Michael Jordan talk, it's hard to believe, wow, that's the greatest basketball player of all time? Really? Because he sounds like he still wants to kick everybody's ass. And to me, that's...
Yeah. He just can't get over the fact that he's not playing no more, I guess.
I guess not. I guess it's harder for some guys to give up the game than it is others. You know, and again, I'm not trying to hate on Michael Jordan because I don't hate the guy. I don't know him. I'm just saying what he's putting forward to me as a fan who grew up watching him from the draft on, it's kind of embarrassing. It's kind of embarrassing because there is no reason for you to be bitter in a game that has long passed you by. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. You're Michael freaking Jordan. You got shoes lines up the yang. Your shoes go for $200-300 a pop.